I got married at the age of 30. My wife is 8 years younger than me. Her name is Emily, a nice girl we met at my friend's wedding. I also have a young mother-in-law. Good figure, like many young girls. We live well with her, which is rare between a mother-in-law and son-in-law. Her name is Linda Johnson. My wife and I live with my mother-in-law in a 2-bedroom apartment. She and I are not particularly shy with each other. After a shower, she walks around in a short robe and I'm in my underwear. I've been given 2 days off at work. I was glad because I wanted a vacation. In the morning, my wife left for work. Through my sleep, I could hear her and my mother-in-law talking in the kitchen. They were probably drinking coffee. My mother-in-law always likes to get up early, and I like to sleep longer. So I did. Turned my back to the wall and dozed off for another 2 hours. When I woke up, I didn't feel like getting up, but I was hungry. I struggled to get up, overcoming my laziness, and slowly wandered to the kitchen. When I entered, my mother-in-law was washing dishes. Seeing me, she asked, "What are you drinking?" I reply, "Tea." "Well, sit down. I'll make you some fresh tea now." I sat down at the table and watched my mother-in-law put away the dishes. And when she reached for the tea bag that was in a box on the top shelf and her robe rose up, I watched the whole thing without even moving. She stood on her toes and couldn't reach. I walked over to help her and pressed myself tightly against her. "Oh, Mark, what are you doing?" she whispered. But I was already well warmed up and paid no attention to her words. My hands were automatically on her waist. My mother-in-law had already left the tea box alone, and this was happening. I took the initiative. My mother-in-law listened to me in everything and was very obedient. But what happened next was unexpected. When I hugged her, I started to feel guilty. I pulled away slightly and looked into her eyes. Linda looked back at me, a look of surprise on her face and something else I couldn't understand. She gently pushed me away and adjusted her robe. "We can't do that, Mark," she said softly. "Emily trusts both of us." I nodded, feeling a wave of guilt wash over me. "You're right," I reply. "I'm really sorry, Linda." I don't know what came over me. She sighed and gave me a small, sad smile. "It's okay. Let's just forget about it and move on with our lives." We both agreed to keep the incident a secret and went back to our normal routines. For the next few days, I tried to act like nothing had happened, but the memories of that morning never left me. I couldn't shake the guilt and confusion. Emily and I had dinner together one night. She looked at me curiously and asked, "Is everything okay, Mark? You seem kind of detached lately." I smiled forcibly and assured her, "Yeah, I'm fine. Just a little stressed about work." She nodded, accepting my explanation, but I could tell she wasn't entirely convinced. I knew I had to put the incident with Linda in the past and focus on my relationship with my wife. Over time, Linda and I found a way to peacefully coexist without any awkwardness. We never spoke of that morning again, and our communication remained cordial and respectful. I realized how much I valued our marriage to Emily and the life we were building together. A few months later, Emily and I decided to move into our own place. It was a bittersweet decision since we were used to living with Linda, but we knew it was the right move for us. On the day we moved in, Linda hugged us both and wished us well. "Take care of each other she said, her eyes misty with tears. "And don't forget to visit us often." "I will, Linda," I promised. "Thanks for everything." As Emily and I settled into our new home, I was relieved and renewed in my commitment to our marriage. The incident with Linda had been a wake-up call for me, reminding me of the importance of trust and fidelity. I was determined to be the best husband I could be and treasure every moment I spent with Emily. Life went on, and the memories of that morning faded into the background. Emily and I had built a strong, loving relationship, and I never again allowed myself to give in to fleeting desires. Our marriage was far from perfect, but it was built on a foundation of trust, love, and mutual respect. And that's a story worth telling.